frustrated puff of air that could only be described as a horse's version of harumph. If horses could laugh out loud, Olina would have. Over the next several hours, the sun rose over the village of Little Geest, turning rosy the just-arriving leaves of the pear and cherry trees. Its glow slid over the fruit orchards till the branches were as red as the round brick clock tower that presided over the town beneath its funny green copper hat. Its warmth seeped deep into the rich dirt, where thousands of tulip bulbs nestled just out of sight, excited for the spring. Tight little fists of plants, they drank it in. And while no one can be certain, there in the dark earth, perhaps the tulip bulbs were excited too. They had good reason to be. Every day they were erupting into rows of color so bright it looked as if a great painter like Van Gogh had left his palette in the fields. The little foal knew none of this. He'd not yet seen the rich fields of the Netherlands, the land where he was born. Nor had he ever watched those pastures spill out across the province of Flevoland, where the farm of his birth lay between two gentle rises of hill. There, in the stall where he was born, he'd never yet even laid his deep brown eyes on the sun, but he felt its pull. And so, as the world and the birds and the tulips woke up, the foal did his best to make sure he was ready for it. By the time the sunlight slanted over the Dutch door of the barn, he had mastered his 4 feet and gotten all his hooves underneath him, with a few falls and a few more silent mare laughs in the process. But he was slowly figuring out this whole standing thing. When he wobbled, he flip-flipped his stubby tail for balance. When his new knees buckled, he swung out his legs and stood with his hooves in a triangle. Olina moved closer, careful now not to tip her son over, and he knew exactly what to do. He nosed up beneath her and took his first drink of mother's milk. It was just then that the farmer arrived with a pail of morning oats for Olina. He swung open that Dutch door with a creak and nearly dropped the bucket of breakfast. There, before him, was a little foal, arrived nearly a month early, already on all 4 feet, blinking at him. Ongelooflijk, the man shouted in his native Dutch. Unbelievable. He stood rock still. Olina shoved her muzzle under the farmer's armpit to remind him that those oats would not eat themselves. He laughed and regained his composure, briefly, dumping the food into her trough. Good job, my cocoa bean. You deserve it, he said, as he shook out the pail. He turned once again to stare, shocked at the little, perfect foal. So early and so ready, he said after a long silence, rippled only by Olina's steady grinding of the oats over her teeth. Gingerly, he reached out a hand to gently touch the baby's trumpet-shaped muzzle. The creature flinched, then decided the man's hands smelled deliciously oaty. They smelled good, and plus, the touch was soft. As the farmer cupped his hand under the baby horse's muzzle, the animal leaned his chin into the man's palm with a teensy sigh. You know what you are? Arrived here first before any of the other foals on this farm, the man said, his sun-crinkled face breaking into a wide smile. The baby horse blinked. A trendsetter. Trendsetter. The foal thought about it. He'd never heard human speech before, and of course did not know human language, and would never truly know it beyond the emotions that all creatures share. But something in the appreciative tones in the farmer's voice, the look in his face, but most of all, the kind feeling in his hands, felt exactly right. Yes, the foal thought, as his tired, tiny legs began to sway, and he lowered his weary self once more to the soft hay. I'm Trendsetter. Chapter 2. Sarah. 3,671 miles from that cozy barn in Little Geest, at exactly the same time that Trendsetter was flopping and wobbling in the hay, someone else was struggling too. On a distant shore on the other side of the broad Atlantic Ocean, far out of sight from the tulips that would burst like flowery fireworks across the pastures of Trendsetter's farm, was a girl named Sarah. And just then, Sarah felt a lot like